And what is up, everybody? I keep seeing posts about this affront to combat sports that is the matchup between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. And I've already made mention of it before that I hate the fact that it's happening. I hate the both of them. And regardless of who wins, I'm going to be pissed off. And we got people. I'm getting into it with people. Swinging on both of these guys' pubic hairs. You know, and just won't get off of. Just won't pry themselves loose of either of their testicles. But somebody, Kat Zingano posts up pictures of Conor McGregor having been knocked out in training. So I pointed out the fact that, but we all know if Floyd Mayweather isn't going to knock him out, he's going to hug him, for 5 rounds. For four rounds, going to land about three, 3 to 4 jabs in each round, and then say, "Oh, he won by unanimous decision." You know, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, you don't watch boxing." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that hasn't happened before." Floyd Mayweather has never done that before. I mean that especially is what he's notorious for now. What so many people are so upset about watching Floyd Mayweather fight now because that's all he does. So is stupid. And then somebody else tried to tell me, "Oh, Mayweather's gonna knock McGregor out. What are you smoking?" Floyd Mayweather hasn't knocked anybody out in 6 years. And the time he knocked somebody out before that was another 6 years. And it was a TKO. So out of 12 years, you only managed to land 2 knockouts. I really don't see such a, not that he can't, but such a absolute no ifs ands or buts definite knockout happening in Conor McGregor's future. Now, mind you, I hate the both of these guys. Conor McGregor um is a bully. He's a trash talker, and it's and he's basically just the titles that he won in the UFC. He basically just diminished them because he wouldn't defend either of them. He wins the featherweight title. I want the lightweight title, and they give him a shot, and he's the first person to ever hold both lightweight and featherweight titles. You know, at the same time, but he had to relinquish one of them. He refused to defend the featherweight title, even though he was supposed to. After he lost to Nate Diaz, you'd figure, okay, step down and fight. Step down and defend the one belt that I have, because moving up in weight class probably wasn't a good idea. Instead, he fights Nate Diaz again. They're giving an immediate rematch. He wins that time. Is given a lightweight title shot. Wins both belts, and is immediately not even trying to talk about defending the lightweight belt, talking about trying to win the welterweight belt. And when that plan doesn't go down, I'm going to fight Floyd Mayweather. So basically, you just spit on the UFC championships, the most prestigious mixed martial arts championships in the world. You just spit on, and he's got that long, lanky, lazy style that I hate so much. I hated that from Anderson Silva. I hated that. I hate that in John Jones. I hate when these long, lanky guys just use their reach to their advantage the whole time, and they just they have virtually nothing else. That's why he had such a hard time against Nate Diaz, because Nate Diaz is a long, lanky dude too. But for some reason, Nate and his brother, idiots, mind you, you know, they're a lot, they're a lot more exciting to watch because they're natural born brawlers. They just want to get in and do it. They don't use their reach to try to keep you away from them, like Conor McGregor, like Anderson Silva, like John Jones ultimately. And he has a puncher's chance. He has a puncher's chance against Mayweather. Anybody has a puncher's chance. If I was gonna say who do I want to win, I want Conor McGregor to win because then that would shut up the debate between MMA and boxing. MMA fighters can't box, which isn't true. Vitor Belfort took on a pro match and won by knockout. There were plenty of pro boxers who made the transition to MMA, no problem. I have a video on the top 5 boxers: Holly Holm, Butterbean, Jeremy Williams. These guys were like, especially Jeremy Williams. He's 7-0 in professional mixed martial arts, and a lot of those fights were by submission. So to say that MMA fighters don't have boxing hands or boxers can't do well in MMA, not necessarily true. Like if they're willing to put in the work. Butterbean has a pretty decent record in professional mixed martial arts and has more submission wins than BJ Penn. So that's saying something. But then Kimbo coming into pro boxing. It's like won all his fights by knockout in pro boxing. Went back to MMA. Conor McGregor, if he manages to beat Floyd Mayweather, another reason why I want Mayweather to lose is because Rocky Marciano's record will still be unmatched. Rocky Marciano was the only retired undefeated champion. The thing is, when he retired, he stayed retired, and right now, his record will stand as a heavyweight, being the only undefeated heavyweight champion. But for a long time, he was the record being untouched. I don't mind anybody breaking his record as long as they come to fight. Mayweather, for however many years now, which everybody keeps complaining about, does not come to fight. Rocky Marciano always came to fight because back in the day, during his time, there was none of this dancing and trying to outscore your opponent, anything like that, because back then, especially back then, it was the promoters that made all the money. If the promoters didn't like you, if you did not impress the promoters, you weren't going to get another fight. Nowadays, because somebody like Floyd Mayweather, he's the one putting on the promotions, he's the one making all the money. It doesn't matter what he does. He doesn't need to impress himself. He's impressed himself enough. Now, granted, maybe early on in his career, when he was young and hungry, coming up and actually knocking dudes out every other fight, this, that, the other, good. But the more and more you spaced out, I mean, even for somebody like George St. Pierre, just before he relinquished the welterweight title, as many times as he has fought, as many times he defended that belt, he didn't have too many finishes with those defenses. But from the time the bell rang, from the time John McCarthy said, "Let's get it on," to the time the horn sounded at the end of the 5th round, he came to fight every single time. He put a beating on whoever he was standing in front of, whether it be the takedowns, whether it be striking, whether it be jiu-jitsu. He was in it from beginning to end. He was putting up a fight. He wasn't fighting not to lose. He was fighting to win. Don't see that with Mayweather. And his highlight reels of the few punches that he actually lands in a fight doesn't, doesn't really impress me. The Kimbo Dada fight. If you were to do a highlight reel, you can make that fight look very, very exciting. With the right editing. So I don't rely on that. And like even with pro wrestling, you see some of the highlight reels of a particular wrestler, especially the promos that they do. You would think that these guys are fighting for real, and obviously that's not the case. I want his record to be marred, because if he suffers a loss, Rocky Marciano's record still stands. If you're gonna break the record, go ahead and break the record, but fight for it. Okay? Actually put up a fight. And then, because of how much I hate Conor McGregor, I also do want him to get knocked out. I want him to get knocked out viciously. I want him to be utterly humiliated and just so embarrassed that he just not want to do anything as dumb as this again. This is bad for mixed martial arts. This is bad for boxing. I hate both of these guys. Both of these guys are just so ridiculously full of themselves. It's not funny. And some people like that, but me, there's some people that have really earned it. Conor McGregor hasn't really earned it. Floyd Mayweather, to me and to a lot of people, to a lot of old school boxing fans, he has not really earned it, and unfortunately, because he's the one making all the money, he doesn't really care. And so, and with people like ESPN, like people in ESPN singing his praises because, he's the champ right now. Oh, pound for pound the best. It's like you haven't really fought. Like, I don't care how quick your defense is. I don't care if anybody could hardly land a punch on you. It was the same thing with Muhammad Ali, but Muhammad Ali actually fought. Sugar Ray Robinson, well over 120 fights. That man actually fought. Joe Louis, also considered one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, if not the greatest of all time. He actually fought. None of those guys were undefeated. Rocky Marciano was the only undefeated champion, and no one even tries considering him for the greatest of all time. So what does that say about Mayweather? Anyway, I had given up watching boxing a long time ago, since Holyfield Lewis 2. And now, because then when Mayweather Pacquiao happened, I was not going to be the only person on planet Earth that didn't watch that fight. So I watched it, and it reiterated why I don't watch pro boxing. But this time again, and having been not that long, I was like, I'm really not looking forward to watching this fight. But I have to, at this point, again, to be like the only person. Somebody's gonna lose, and regardless of who wins, I'm not gonna be happy about it. But like I said, I have to watch it because I can't be the only person that didn't see it. It's not like with me in the X-Men movies, because I've sworn off any and every 20th Century Fox Marvel movie. I don't care how good they say it is. I'm not watching it. Same thing with a lot of actors that I don't like. I don't care how good the movie is. I'm not watching the movie. This fight, unfortunately, I have to see it through. I'm not happy about it. Not looking forward to it, and regardless of who wins, I'm going to be pissed off because I hate the both of them. I'm done talking. You guys have a good night.